Hi Aquarius, welcome to your April 2020 General Tarot reading. It's Rena here. So if you can see, I've got my little frog incense, or it's like for those cone incense things. I think it's made out of brass, which is, that's actually the perfect thing for that, because you can burn sage. And what I've got in there is Palo Santo. And if you've ever smelled Palo Santo, it is like a wonderful scent. Somebody described it as kind of like cedar and citrus combined, which is kind of an interesting description. I don't know if I agree with it 100%, but it's really distinctive. And I love incense, but it definitely has its own scent, of course. And I'm actually burning sage right now, and that smells like weed. I remember one time I was walking into this little Korean health food store in Chicago, and it's just reeked of what I thought was weed, and I'm like, oh my god, these like cute, they were like, elderly Korean people. They're like closet stoners, And then it turned out, that when I first burned sage, that I realized, whoa, this really smells like it. So it actually has scientific, it's been scientifically proven to like purify the air. Like, I don't know, I guess it would be kill microbes or something, I don't know. But so, I thought about that because I thought it was just one of these rituals that, I'm not a ritual type of person. I thought it was very empty. And I thought to myself, wow, that you could have something be backed up. I don't care that much about something being scientifically proven to be true or not, but the fact that it did made it seem more like a meaningful activity, because entities might be, I think somebody said that viruses might actually be like negative entities, which that makes perfect sense. That's how they're manifesting physically. So I don't know if you were expecting to get that kind of conversation from me, but oh well. Okay, okay. The first thing I thought of here, I don't know if this is going to apply to many Aquarians, but I thought of somebody leaving the church. This is the past position. This can be, I would say, organized religion, because this is a card of tradition. Aquarius is ruled by both Uranus, but also Saturn. That's the traditional ruler. And Saturn is a ruler of Capricorn, so that's the more traditional possibility. But, Aquarius tends to go for the thing that is not in the mainstream. So you would be the kind of person who, especially since you have those intuitive gifts, to not be willing to settle for dogma that may not be, it's like one size fits all. No, you might say, no, it doesn't. I have my own path, and I have my own life and my own background, and this doesn't fit me. So if that's true for you, you may be saying, I'm going to go my own way. I'm going to do my own thing. Also, there's an element to this sometimes of kind of slinking away, kind of like doing it very discreetly. So I'm almost thinking like something that is a very restrictive type of religion where they come after you like a cult or something. But no, I'm just kidding. But if you're in a cultural, in an environment where this is a big deal, where everybody knows your business and they will castigate you or something like that, then it might be something that you have to really be careful about. But this can also be the Hierophant connects to Taurus. When I heard that it connected to Taurus, I was like, there's no way. Taurus doesn't connect to religious doctrine. Taurus rules the house of money. What does it have anything to do with, the Hierophant? Everything that they said about the Hierophant really connected to Sagittarius and, higher learning and things like that. So this could also be deciding that you're going to drop out of college because, you're not learning what you want to learn. And it's like you're just being kind of brainwashed into the conventional way of doing things. I looked through all of my books and I finally found one tarot, if you want to call them expert. And these were probably more of the traditional tarot, expert. I don't know what else to call them. And who said Sagittarius. So there is at least one person who was like me. So if you want to include Sag as a possible person that you're getting away from, but this is a card of marriage. So this might be that you get married, somebody's cheating on you, or that you want to get out of this thing, that you realize this isn't what you wanted. Or if you're about to get married and you realize I can't go through with it. How do I get out of this? The higher message is the Five of Pentacles, and this is a card of lack consciousness. And it's interesting because we can apply that to anything. Here's another thing about the Hierophant. I connected to the corporate world, because there's a hierarchy, I think, with the Hierophant, and it's also and because of that and the tradition, so like the corporation is like kind of they have their own philosophy, they have their own way of doing things. And for an Aquarius person, I think Aquarians and Sagittarians, out of all the signs, would probably be, and maybe Aries, would probably despise any corporate culture which determines how they dress, how they conduct themselves, and how they think and all that stuff. So if you're in that type of environment, you may realize that you got into it for the wrong reasons with the Five of Pentacles. If you have a background in maybe growing up without much money and you thought that was what you wanted, that was the most important thing in life, you may have come to realize that you kind of are selling your soul to some degree, that you don't really resonate with the way that you're being asked to conduct yourself, and it just doesn't feel right. And that is legitimate. You should never apologize for wanting to do things differently. So that's one of the things that the Five of Pentacles really is about, is being able to transcend, to me, because this is in the spiritual position, Aquarius, is to realize how you're motivated by lack. So whether it's a relationship where somebody says, well, if I don't agree to this, I don't really want to be married, but what if nobody else will have me? That type of thing, which doesn't strike me as an Aquarian type of mentality, but you may have inner planets in Pisces, where you're more sensitive to that sort of thing, and your moon sign can be in any sign. So you might be in Pisces, Cancer. So there are Aquarians who are quite sensitive to and vulnerable. You know what I mean? So it's not going to always apply that way. So you have to really think about these things and ask yourself, what is your purpose in life? What are you here for? Are you here just to make money, or are you here to share your gifts? And yeah. And even like with the swords, because you are a sword, you're an air sign. With air signs, the other air signs are Gemini and Libra, you are intellectual. So having a career that stimulates your mind may be much more something that is up your alley than, like, let's say you're a stockbroker, or let's say you're a, something that makes a lot of money, but it's not really, in a corporate, like I said, a corporate environment, especially, where you can make a lot of money working for certain, maybe, but I want to say that there are definitely, if you're in a corporate environment, and let's say you have to make presentations, or you sell to people, like you have clients that you sell to, that can utilize some of those skills, because the air signs are about communication. And when you have intelligence, that makes for a good salesperson. So I'm not just completely discounting that, but you just may have other dreams that this is not fulfilling for you. And if there's some kind of personal relationship, it's about not being motivated by the fear of not having something. What crosses you is the Queen of Swords. So this may actually, your emotions may actually be getting in the way, which is, like I said, funny to say, but this may not be for every Aquarian, obviously. This may be for the select few. But emotions can be triggered by, past memories of something unpleasant. And that keeps, the fear keeps you rooted in place. Aquarius is a fixed sign, so the tendency to be very rigid, especially if Mercury is in Aquarius. I'm sorry, I'm getting so much into the astrology. I just can't help it. That's just what I'm about. But yeah, so just like that kind of like, this is how it is, and not being flexible enough. In the Tao, it says that if the branch is too rigid, it snaps in the storm. And if it's supple, if it's flexible, it bends with the winds, So the winds of change, which is, life. Look at how our lives are at this moment. If you're watching in late March, life can change on a dime. And we have to change with it. We have no choice. And yet, there are people that will cling to their own feelings. I have to, this is my feeling and I'm sticking with it. Well, that can keep you stuck. And I also think of this card as, having to make this decision, and again, not being able to because the emotions are so engaged. What's coming in is the Five of Cups. This is a card of mourning the loss of something. Now, sometimes it's a dream of thinking like, let's say you landed this well-paying job, and it's like you remember the day that they gave you the green light, and you probably felt ecstatic. Or the day when you knew you were going to marry somebody, or that you did marry somebody, and it felt like you had won the lottery. And then you found out that it wasn't what you wanted. And you have to, even if you know that you don't want something, you still have to go through that process of kind of processing, the process of processing, the realization that it's going to be in the past. And being able to do that is something that is not that easy sometimes, right? But it doesn't mean that it can't be done. It's just part of the different phases that we go through. And being conscious of it, not trying to push it away or kind of intellectualizing it, rationalizing it, is important. The outcome, the Death card. I was going to actually pick an additional card, and I said, why? There's nothing wrong with the Death card. This is about transformation, transition. You know, there's a term, or maybe you could call it a euphemism for death, called that person has made their transition. Isn't that an interesting thing? I didn't grow up, hearing that phrase. I've just heard it, as an adult. And I like it. I think a lot of New Agey people use that. I like it because it's not saying it's the end. It's just saying it's like into a different phase. And that's true for you. And look at this. The rose, or is that a rose? Well, I mean a white flower, and that symbolizes purity. So we have this thing where death is usually, I think, symbolized as black, right? People wear black in mourning, like this person is in mourning, and yet there is a cleaning of the slate. There's kind of clearing the decks for new possibilities to come in. That's the thing. Nature abhors a vacuum, but you have to allow yourself to let go of certain things in order to make them happen. Otherwise, how can they? Now, I want to say, too, that the Death card is Scorpio. So, because Scorpio is also an air sign, who knows? Maybe there is somebody that is important in your life of that sign. Whether this is the person that... if this is confirmation of who it is that you're dealing with, that you're letting go of, or somebody new that you really want to be with. I mean, it could be either one. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that this resonated with you, Aquarius. If you'd like a personal reading, I'm primarily an astrologer, and I do a lot of my readings using natal charts. Please check me out. The link is below. I'm at rainamoon.astrology.com. Take care. Bye.